It's now time for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. This edition of Trivia Tracks is brought to you by Beth Smith at Edward Jones and by ProMed Ambulance Services. Here are some clues for you. He was the Union's youngest Civil War general at the age of 34, went on to serve as governor of the New Mexico Territory, and wrote a best-selling book that was made into a movie 3 times. And just who is the man in question? Lew Wallace, whose set achievements and others that will be mentioned later, most people have pretty much forgotten about. Born in Brookville, Indiana in 1827, the versatile Wallace was a busy man. At age 19, he fought in the Mexican War. After that, he found work as a newspaper reporter and a lawyer, and was admitted to the bar in 1849. Later, he was active in Indiana politics and was elected to the Indiana State Senate in 1856. His father, David, had served as Indiana's governor from 1837 to 1840. At the outbreak of the American Civil War, he was appointed Indiana's adjutant general and commanded the 11th Indiana Infantry Regiment. Wallace, who attained the rank of Major General, participated in the battles of Fort Donelson, Shiloh, and Monocacy. He also served on the military commission for the trials of the Lincoln assassination conspirators and presided over the trial of Henry Wirz, the Confederate commandant of the Andersonville prison camp. Wallace resigned from the U.S. Army in November 1865 and briefly served as Major General in the Mexican Army before returning to the United States. In 1878, Wallace was appointed governor of the New Mexico Territory, and in 1881, shortly before he resigned from office, he signed the death warrant for Billy the Kid. When the kid escaped from the Lincoln County Courthouse, it was Wallace who ordered up a posse that tracked him down to Fort Sumner, where, according to most versions of the story, Sheriff Pat Garrett shot the 21-year-old outlaw dead. After his term ended, Wallace served as U.S. Minister to the Ottoman Empire until 1885. Perhaps the one thing that Wallace liked best was writing. His first book, The Fair God, about Cortez's conquest of Mexico, was reasonably popular, but it was his next book that became a huge bestseller, Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. The most famous movie adaptation of the novel, released in 1959, starred Charlton Heston in the title role, whose first name was Judah. In his last years, Lew Wallace called Crawfordsville, Indiana home, where he continued to write until his death on February 15, 1905, at the age of 77. In regard to his legacy and honors, Soccer's ND-11 pays homage to the 11th Regiment of Indiana Volunteers that Wallace fought in during the Civil War. He's been portrayed 15 times on film and on TV. Lew Wallace High School opened in Gary, Indiana in 1926 and closed 10 years ago. Today there stands a museum in Crawfordsville dedicated to him, a statue of Wallace in the U.S. Capitol, and a General Lewis Wallace Lodge in Franklin, Indiana. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me for Trivia Tracks weekdays at 6:45 on Everybody's Country Y95.